A number on its own is called constant. In this equation, the constants are 7 and 5. A variable is a symbol for a number we don't know yet, and it is represented by a letter. In this equation, the variable is the x. A subset is a set contained in another set. For example, the set Alex, Billy, Casey. The subsets are Alex, Billy, and Casey. A set is a collection of objects. The elements that make up a set can be letters, people, numbers, etc. For example, in here, the Venn diagram. This is the set A, and this is the set B, and this is the intersection of both sets.
A dependent variable is a variable in an expression, equation, or function that has its value determined by the choice of values of other variables. The dependent variable depends on one or more other variables. For example, in the equation y equals 3x minus 2, the dependent variable is y, because its value depends on the value chosen for x. Usually, the dependent variable is isolated on one side of an equation. An independent variable is a variable which can be assigned any permissible value without any restriction imposed by any other variable. An independent variable in an equation may have its value freely chosen without considering values of any other variable. For example, in this equation, y equals 3x minus 2, the independent variable is x. The variable y is not dependent since it depends on the number chosen for x, but x can be given any chosen number. Real numbers can be divided into several categories. Natural numbers, which include 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until infinite. Natural numbers are only whole numbers and must be positive. Whole numbers are all natural numbers but including 0. Only positive numbers. Integers are all whole numbers, positive and negative, including 0. Rational numbers are numbers that or decimals which can be breaked or turned into fractions. All fractions are rational numbers. So it can be whole numbers because they can be turned into fractions over 1, simple fractions like 2 over 3 or 2/3, decimals that can be turned into fractions such as 0.5, that is 1/2 or 1 over 2. Some roots, they can be turned into fractions such as root of 16, that is turned into 4 or 4 over 1. Decimals that have patterns such as 0.2222222 or 0.31313131, if they have a pattern, they're rational numbers. Irrational numbers are decimal numbers or numbers with decimals that do not have a pattern and can't be turned into fractions. If you type this in the calculator, you will not get a fraction. A domain is a set of all possible input values, often the x variable, which produce a valid output from a particular function. It is a set of all real numbers for which a function is mathematically defined. For example, in the equation y equals 5x plus 10, the domain for x would be any real number, since it doesn't matter which number you put in, you don't know the value of y. So therefore, the domain is any real number.
Range. Range is the difference between the largest and the smallest values. Range can also mean all the outputs of a function. Cartesian product. The Cartesian product of two sets, A and B, denoted by A by B, is the set of all possible order pairs whose first component is an element of A and whose second component is an element of B. Cartesian plane. A Cartesian plane is a plane consisting of two lines intersecting each other at right angles. The horizontal line is the x-axis, and the vertical one is the y-axis, and the point of their intersection is called the origin, with the coordinates 0, 0. Venn diagrams. In a Venn diagram, sets are represented by shapes, usually circles, where the elements are labeled within the circles. Venn diagrams are especially used for showing relationships between sets.